A new book has been released. The host of fast-wearing forces every day. I hope everyone can support me and love me. Meng Li became cannon fodder while watching the emergence of exotic treasures, and also became a taskmaster who shuttled through various worlds to counterattack for others. Do you feel that the cultivation method is not satisfactory? Self-created. No satisfactory weapon. There are also no suitable opportunity. Everyone has it. Note. This article has no CP. Keywords of the novel. The cannon fodder of the quick pass mission comes to counterattack without a pop-up window. The cannon fodder of the quick pass mission comes to counterattack. Download the complete text, and the cannon fodder of the quick pass mission comes to counterattack. Read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. First Encounter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. First Encounter. Meng Li's consciousness gradually became clear, and when he opened his eyes, he saw a vast expanse of white. Her eyes flashed with confusion, but it was only a fleeting moment. Her gaze quickly turned into a guarded one, gazing at the environment of this space. She was dressed in a wide-sleeved long dress and walked lightly in the space. Wherever she could see, white mist shrouded her, as if wearing a vague and mysterious veil. Meng Li instinctively released his divine consciousness and examined this space, only to see the same scene as before. She tried to step out of this space again, but there was an invisible force blocking her. Meng Li's arm instinctively lifted up, and suddenly seemed to think of something. His arm was powerless to let go, clearly leaving Meng Li at a loss. Meng Li's face was strange and complex, with a myriad of flavors in his heart. In her memory, she was dead. She raised her hand to touch her body, her physical body no longer present, and her tentacles felt a cotton-like sensation. Meng Li looked down at herself, without any physical body, but still dressed in what she had worn before her death. However, she now looks as if a gust of wind can blow her away. But she was trapped here. Did she enter someone else's magical tool after death, imprisoning her soul as well? Or is this what people often refer to as Huangquan Road? Meng Li felt an inexplicable discomfort in her heart, recalling her path of cultivation. Since she entered the sect for many years, her aptitude was not excellent. In the era when she was surrounded by primordial babies, she could even achieve alchemy at the moment of her death. At that time, it was said that there was a mountain range and a celestial anomaly, indicating that there must be a rare treasure in this world. Meng Li couldn't hold back his curiosity. His original intention was to broaden his horizons, and he also hoped to obtain some natural materials and treasures needed for the path of cultivation. When the treasure was born, its radiance was dazzling, and no one could get close at all. It exploded in the sky, and in the chaos, Meng Li had not yet seen the form of the treasure, so Hua Lily became a member of the cannon fodder. Meng Li's gaze was sad. She didn't know where she was going and what to face next. The unknown was both mysterious and frightening. Has she ever committed any sins before her death? Will she go to the so-called hell? Why are you here? Where should I go? Where the hell is this? Hello, Meng Li. Just as Meng Li was lost in thought, a voice that was difficult to distinguish between male and female stereotypes sounded in this space, causing Meng Li to almost lose his composure. If Meng Li still had a physical body, then at this moment, his hair would surely stand on end. Meng Li. The stereotypical sound rang out again. Meng Li was suddenly called by someone's name, and was truly frightened. Who was calling her name? Meng Li pressed on the suspicion in his heart and quickly looked around, unable to find the source of the sound. However, the sound seemed to come from all directions and reached his mind. Meng Li took a long breath. Stabilizing one's mind, once you come, be content with it, and there's nothing terrifying about it. She replied, yes, may I ask who you are? I am Traverse System, my code name is 6018, used for traversing planes. Would you be willing to become one of us? 6018's voice remained rigid and stiff. How did you know my name? Meng Li asked. I am a time-traveling system. When you came here, you already had information about yourself. Meng Li understood clearly that it should be very simple to know about this mysterious thing about her. Thinking that Meng Li was not delving into this matter, he asked in confusion. Traverse. System. Meng Li couldn't understand what crossing was, what a system was, and the subsequent crossing planes, all of which made Meng Li unable to understand. One of the things that Meng Li realized was that the other party might want her to join a sect or something. The sound of 6018 came again. Yes, if you are willing to become a taskmaster, you can take the task to various worlds to complete it, and you will receive rewards after completing the task. If you don't want to become a taskmaster, I can send you to reincarnation, 6018 added. Meng Li's mind turned around, and the sound gave her a feeling of no human emotion. Her tone was rigid and ruthless, giving Meng Li the feeling of not being human. However, Meng Li did not rashly ask her doubts. Instead, she heard some key words and went to various worlds to complete tasks. Meng Li asked in confusion, if I don't want to be a taskmaster, can I just leave? After hesitating for a moment, he added, was he reborn? Isn't it true that after cultivation, there is a difference between immortals and mortals, cutting off the path of reincarnation? Originally, it was possible to be reborn, and even a mere mortal child is not considered immortal. Yes. 6018 answered very briefly. But I didn't tell Meng Li that it was impossible for him to go back to life with the memories of this place, as he had to deprive him of some of his soul power and memory before passing away. Meng Li heard this and asked again, do you say there are many worlds? Of course, there are countless worlds, and your world before your death was just a drop in the ocean. The outside world is much larger, 6018 said. If you don't want to, I can send you off now. Please make a quick decision. 6018 continued. Meng Li blinked. There were countless worlds outside, and the temptation was really too great. However, if she were to pass away, she would not remember the events of this life, and it seemed that she was not her anymore. After all, if she had a past life, she wouldn't be able to remember it now. And Meng Li is not worried that the owner of this voice is lying to her. After all, she is now trapped in this space and unable to move. If you want to do anything to her, there is no need to talk so much to her. The fact is that for some reason, the other party needs her to do the task. The sound of 6018 came again. If your mission fails, your soul power will be used to maintain the energy in the system space. As much as the system space needs to be used, you need to provide as much. With your soul power, you can barely sustain the system to cross the plane at most twice. If your soul power is used up, you cannot reincarnate, 6018 added. For some reason, Meng Li breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing such words. There is no such thing as pie falling from the sky. If she were asked to do a task and the task failed, it would be unbelievable to send her back to life. But now there are conditions, but Meng Li is a little relieved. Although this cost is the cost of not dying, it can be said that the cost is very high. But Meng Li always felt that if he deceived her into doing tasks and didn't let her succeed, it would be too difficult to ask for her soul power. Why not take her soul power now? So, the task should be within the range of human abilities rather than God's. And I heard that her soul power can sustain 2 crossings, which means there are 2 chances. If she fails this time, there should be another chance. Meng Li smiled slightly and didn't expect to encounter this situation even after death. He spoke cautiously and asked, what tasks do I need to do? Personal opinion. The author believes that cultivators like Meng Li can have an afterlife. If there is no afterlife, how can there be cultivators to counterattack in the subsequent tasks? After dedicating some of their soul power, they can still be reborn. End of this chapter. The first task of Chapter 2 is Modern 1. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The first task of Chapter 2 is Modern 1. There are many types, usually counterattack missions, which change the client's original fate and complete the tasks entrusted by the client. Is this a sacrifice? Meng Li's voice carried a hint of shock. No, it's just temporary. After completing the task, you will come back and the client will also go back to live their own life. You will also receive corresponding rewards. 6018 explained. Meng Li breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing the words, his eyes flickered, and he hesitated before asking. Can someone with great evil invite them to do great evil? Tasks are all selected and have their own meaning, and good and evil are in your heart. 6018 doesn't say much, the voice remains the same as before. Are you willing to become a taskmaster? If you don't want to, I'll send you to die now. Meng Li knew that the owner of this voice was a bit impatient, and if she continued to ask, she would have to go back to life. When entering the path of cultivation, one is already prepared for the lack of reincarnation. It is said that practitioners do not enter reincarnation. At that time, I was not afraid either. An intuition told Meng Li that this should be an opportunity to take her to another world. What kind of power can it be? Without hesitation, he decisively said, I am willing. Task Agent Meng Li is currently binding to the system space. A voice without any emotion came, and Meng Li seemed to feel something connected to his soul and connected in his heart. Just as he was about to ask what 6018 was, he lost consciousness and his figure disappeared into this vast white space. Meng Li's consciousness returned and his head swelled. A massive amount of information rushed into Meng Li's mind in an instant. Meng Li frowned in pain and didn't let out a word. After a long time, Meng Li opened his eyes in the darkness, and a strange light flashed in them. She really came to a different world. Meng Li stood up according to the accepted memory and turned on the light in the room. The orange light lit up, and Meng Li carefully examined everything in the room. The soft bed was covered with a soft blanket, and the room was warm in color, with a warm feeling. Meng Li looked towards a corner of the room, where there was a computer. According to his accepted memory, Meng Li knows that this is an era of rapid development of the internet and an era where people believe in science. This world does not have the cultivation system of the world she lived in. But what Meng Li likes is that this place is vastly different from the cruel and powerful world where she lived before. Meng Li knew that her soul had entered the body of a girl named Xiaoqin. Meng Li recalled the received plot and memories, analyzing them in detail in his mind. Xiaoqin was born into a family of businessmen, with her parents engaged in business. Although the company was not small, it was also not small, and her family was wealthy. Xiaoqin has an older brother who is also very fond of him. Although his parents are busy with work, they also show great care for their children. The family of four is happy and harmonious. However, Xiaoqin's life changed with the arrival of a girl named Tao Yue. Tao Yue is the daughter of Xiao Mingwei, a close friend of Xiaoqin's father. Tao Yue's mother passed away early, and her father also fell ill and passed away. As Tao Yue's grandparents had also passed away long ago, Tao Yue's father remembered that Xiao Mingwei's family was wealthy, and his daughter had also loved the Xiao family since childhood. Before leaving, he entrusted Tao Yue to Xiao Mingwei. Please help take care of me. Xiao Mingwei did not hesitate at all, and assured Tao Yue's dying father that he would treat her as his own daughter and not mistreat her. Zhao's mother didn't have any objections. After all, for so many years and 2 years, they have been close to each other and have been walking around for a long time. She has a strong affection for Tao Yue and also hopes that Tao Yue and Xiaoqin can be companions, achieving the best of both worlds. Xiaoqin's brother Xiao Eifeng has always had a fondness for Tao Yue, a sweet-looking girl with a soft and sticky voice, and naturally welcomes her since childhood. It can be said that the whole family really enjoyed Tao Yue's arrival. Tao Yue's father passed away shortly after. With the help of Xiao Mingwei, Tao Yue managed her father's funeral and moved into the Xiao family. He also transferred to the school where Xiao Xiaoqin studied. In order to facilitate the interaction between the two children, Xiao Mingwei deliberately transferred to the class where Xiao Xiaoqin studied. After Tao Yue arrived at the Xiao family, she was beautiful, sweet-mouthed, and kind-hearted, which made Xiao Mingwei and his wife very fond of her. Xiao Xiaofeng also likes Tao Yue very much, and because Tao Yue is an orphan girl, he has a little more pity for her. But Xiao Xiaoqin felt deeply disappointed because her parents and brother, who had loved her since childhood, had shifted their focus and gaze to Tao Yue, neglecting her a bit. However, the most unbearable thing for Xiao Xiaoqin is that Tao Yue always does bad things with good intentions. Xiao Xiaoqin has a crush at school. After being discovered by Tao Yue, she patted her chest and said to Xiao Xiaoqin that she wanted to help her confess her feelings and also help her test the character of this boy. Of course, the ultimate result is that everyone knows that Xiao Aiqin has a crush on this person. What's even more embarrassing is that after Tao Yue broke into the other person's sight like a deer, the other person liked Tao Yue and highly pursued her. Compassionate or playful gazes followed closely towards Xiao Xiaoqin, who felt embarrassed and lost, and a slight resentment towards Tao Yue rose in her heart. After all, Xiao Xiaoqin is an inexperienced girl who cannot conceal her emotions. My face towards Tao Yue became colder and colder, especially when I saw my parents and siblings treating her well. It made me feel even less satisfied and even jealous. The atmosphere between the two at home was not unnoticed by the members of the Xiao family, but they felt that the conflict between the children was not a big issue and did not pay attention. And Tao Yue is already so pitiful. Even if there is something, they won't be able to say it, so as not to be accused by others of bullying an orphan. But Tao Yue seemed unable to see Xiao Xiaoqin's cold gaze, and even tried to please her at home. Whenever she had free time, she would make a fruit platter for Xiao Xiaoqin and make a hearty breakfast. If Xiao Xiaoqin doesn't eat, Tao Yue will look disappointed and sit pitifully on the side, as if silently telling, "Why don't you accept my kindness to you? Do you really hate me so much?" The family praised Tao Yue for being sensible, but it also appeared that the client was unfriendly. Xiao Xiaofeng told the client that they were too narrow-minded and blamed them for not being sensible. And Zhao's mother also murmured in Xiao Aiqin's ear, saying that this was not appropriate. In Zhao's mother's heart, her daughter is somewhat spoiled, while Tao Yue is sensible and lovely. Zhao's father didn't say anything, but the disappointment in his eyes was something that Xiao Xiaoqin couldn't understand. And Tao Yue, because the boy Xiao Xiaoqin liked was chasing her in the opposite direction, approached Xiao Xiaoqin to explain, saying that it was not like that, and that she must match them, fulfilling Xiao Xiaoqin's wish. New book for collection. If you like it, remember to add it to the bookshelf, please. Hehe. End of this chapter. The first task of Chapter 3 is Modern 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The first task of Chapter 3 is Modern 2. Xiao Xiaoqin was almost furious and extremely embarrassed. She wanted to ask Tao Yue, "What exactly do you want?" The inevitable war that broke out between Xiao Xiaoqin and Tao Yue in the end. Xiao Xiaoqin questioned Tao Yue why she was embarrassed, but Tao Yue, who was beautiful and kind-hearted, looked at Xiao Xiaoqin pitifully with innocent and pure teary eyes. Tears were as if she didn't want any money, and she muttered to herself with a heavily discouraged expression. Since the Xiao family didn't welcome her, she left here and turned around to hide her face and fled. But to my surprise, Tao Yue really ran away from home. Zhao's parents and Xiao Xiaofeng searched everywhere, but they couldn't find Tao Yue. The family came to their senses and looked at the culprit Xiao Xiaoqin. She was deeply saddened by the disappointment and blame in her family's eyes, as well as the hint of disgust in her brother's eyes. Tao Yue went missing for a few days. Faced with the blaming gaze from the Xiao family, Xiao Xiaoqin suffered for a few days. She really wanted to loudly question her parents and siblings, who is important. In the end, Xiao Xiaofeng still managed to find Tao Yue. Under the strong demands of the Xiao family, Xiao Xiaoqin apologized to Tao Yue. Although she was unwilling, Xiao Xiaoqin had no choice. In everyone's eyes, she was the one who made a mistake, and all her disappointment and embarrassment were incomprehensible. But what annoyed Xiao Xiaoqin was that Tao Yue still seemed to be extremely pleasing to her, with a face full of past grievances and caution. She even cooked breakfast for the Xiao family every morning, often massaged Xiao's mother, and never hesitated to say nice things. In this strong contrast, Xiao Xiaoqin appeared pampered and unreasonable. The Xiao family showed patience towards Xiao Xiaoqin and disgust towards Xiao Xiaofeng, which made Xiao Xiaoqin feel frustrated every day. A classmate named Yao Xian said she wanted to help Xiao Xiaoqin vent her anger, although it was unclear whether there was any selfishness involved. Xiao Xiaoqin refused directly. And this is her own private matter and she doesn't like others to interfere, so she forgot about it for a long time and didn't even take it to heart. But what Xiao Xiaoqin didn't expect was that Yao Xian met some people somewhere and didn't do anything law-abiding, actually kidnapping Tao Yue. Yao Xian felt flustered when she saw that the situation had escalated. She only met those people occasionally and had no idea about their specific details. Now in this situation, the other party doesn't listen to her at all. After learning that Tao Yue is very favored in the Xiao family, and also learning that the Xiao family is wealthy, they even have the idea of demanding ransom from the Xiao family. Yao Xian told Xiao Xiaoqin about this matter, and in her words, she had already shifted all the responsibility onto Xiao Xiaoqin. Of course, they do whatever they say. Xiao Xiaoqin is just a girl, and when she encounters such a situation, she becomes very chaotic. When she comes home, she confesses to her parents about the reasons and consequences. Zhao's mother wept uncontrollably. In a fit of anger, Zhao's father slapped Xiao Xiaoqin hard, and Xiao Xiaofeng even threatened to sever ties with her if Tao Yue couldn't come back safely. Xiao Xiaoqin was in unbearable pain, and could only silently wait for Tao Yue to return safely. Such a result was not what she wanted. She thought Yao Xian was just arguing with Tao Yue for a few words, she really didn't know that things would get so big. And she also refused Yao Xian's help to vent her anger, she never expected anyone to act on their own. However, just as the Xiao family was planning to raise money for the kidnappers, they received a phone call from Tao Yue, saying that she had escaped safely and the kidnappers had been taken to the police station and were about to face legal sanctions. When Xiao Xiaoqin learned the news, she was momentarily stunned, feeling that something was not right, but she couldn't figure out what was wrong. But Xiao Xiaoqin had no idea that misfortune was coming towards her at this moment. Tao Yue returned to the Xiao family after 2 more days. Xiao Xiaoqin wanted to apologize, but the strong Xiao Xiaoqin couldn't open her mouth, feeling conflicted and guilty. At this moment, Xiao Xiaoqin didn't know that she would never have a chance to speak again. On Xiao Xiaoqin's way home from a trip, she was kidnapped. In the narrow carriage, Xiao Xiaoqin, curled up with her body, suddenly heard someone spat at her, saying that she must suffer enough for no reason. Xiao Xiaoqin was pampered from a young age, with a delicate and soft body. Later, she was blindfolded and locked in a space without food, drink, or anyone. The unknown next second made Xiao Xiaoqin extremely fearful. Xiao Xiaoqin didn't know how long she stayed in a sealed and humid space, but her body couldn't resist it in the end. After losing consciousness, she never woke up again. At the last moment of Xiao Xiaoqin's life, the faces of the Xiao family and Tao Yue flashed through her mind. She vaguely felt that all of this had a close connection with Tao Yue, but she had no time to verify it. Xiao Xiaoqin's wish is not to die. In the face of life and death, she has no time to hate anyone. She doesn't want to die in such a confused way, she wants to live well. Meng Li rationalized her thoughts, and now all she received were memories from Xiao Xiaoqin until her death. At this moment, Meng Li's mind rang out. There is no plot on this plane, please handle it properly. Meng Li instinctively asked, "What is the plot?" "The plot is more detailed than the memories you receive. If there is a plot, you can know who kidnapped Xiao Xiaoqin, but there is no corresponding plot in this world, and everything depends on yourself." Meng Li's heart was clear, and he responded with a sigh, then smiled and said, "This is really a different world." There is an infinite exclamation in the tone. She really came to a different world. Meng Li sensed the spiritual energy of this world. The spiritual energy of this world was very thin, and her martial arts that needed a large amount of spiritual energy support could not operate. Meng Li used a lot of effort to release her spiritual energy, but she couldn't see how far away she was from before. Moreover, after only releasing it for a while, she felt a sense of difficulty. Meng Li was surprised and asked, "Why has my divine sense weakened?" "You have bound the system space and used some soul power and spiritual power." "Spiritual power?" Meng Li repeated. "Yes, what you're talking about is your spiritual power." Meng Li exclaimed, not hesitating about a name. Follow-up question. "Will I always be like this?" "Of course not. You are good at completing tasks and there will be rewards that will make you stronger. You were born on the cultivation plane, and you should know how many resources and opportunities are needed for the journey of cultivation. In fact, you have just changed your way of cultivation now." Meng Li nodded, indicating that he understood. She is no longer concerned about the decrease in mental strength, and she has no other choice not to believe and question what the system says. Meng Li tried to open the computer and found it difficult to read the fonts that appeared on it. The fonts here were different from the world before her death, and she needed to search for memories, one by one, to recall and familiarize herself. Meng Li looked at the computer over and over again, marveling at the power of technology in this world, while also feeling worried. For many years, she had become accustomed to having the power to be around her, but suddenly became an ordinary girl, feeling a little uneasy in her heart. For some reasons, some free chapters have been merged into a large chapter, and only 2 chapters have been merged into 1 chapter, but it does not affect reading. Fortunately, there are no specific reasons for the fee stamp, so there is no such big stamp. It is all about 2,000 words per chapter, and it is normal. Hope to understand, July 20th, 2019, end of this chapter. The first task of Chapter 4 is Modern 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The first task of Chapter 4 is Modern 3, but she also knew the direction of things in the future, and now she is in an advantageous position. Besides, none of us have that kind of power, which is also a reason for Meng Li's slight peace of mind. Meng Li self-built in his heart and used a computer for a while. At first, the spirit was very excited, and everything in this world was so fresh for Meng Li. However, Meng Li couldn't resist the instinct of her body wanting to fall asleep due to fatigue. When the drowsiness struck, Meng Li looked at the time and realized it was already midnight. He didn't think of anything else and fell into a deep sleep on the bed. When Meng Li woke up again, a small beam of light had already shone through the curtains on Meng Li's face. Meng Li remained silent and propped up his ears. The sound of pacing at the door was light, but as he walked back and forth, it all showed the owner's hesitation at this moment. Meng Li covered the blanket under his neck, turned his head towards the door, and his eyes fixed on the door for a moment. After a while, the footsteps at the door stopped, and a knocking sounded. A soft and sticky sound came into Meng Li's ears. "Sister Xiaoqin, are you up yet?" Meng Li knew that Xiao Xiaoqin used to ignore Tao Yue and insisted on waiting for the second time before answering her, as if this could help to release some of the pent-up breath in her heart. Meng Li let out a faint hum. Because of someone else, Meng Li's voice was soft, and Tao Yue was obviously surprised by this soft voice. Instead of a stiff and disgusted voice before. Tao Yue leaned against Meng Li's doorstep and said, "Sister Xiaoqin, I have already prepared breakfast. Let's eat together later. Let's go to school together." Meng Li hummed again, stood up, opened the bedroom door, and saw Tao Yue standing at the door. Meng Li lowered her eyes slightly, and the Xiaoqian she possessed was one head taller than Tao Yue. In fact, Tao Yue was not short, but Xiaoqian was really tall. Meng Li glanced at Tao Yue. Tao Yue was wearing a pink home outfit, very cute, with clear and bright eyes. Watching Meng Li look at her, feeling a bit uneasy, bid farewell to the broken hair in her ear. Meng Li's gaze followed the movement trajectory of Tao Yue's hand. Tao Yue was very delicate, even her earlobes were delicate and cute. Meng Li withdrew his gaze and glanced at the living room. Xiao Fu, Xiao Mu, and Xiao Xiaofeng were all sitting at the dining table. Zhao's father is a mature and charming man, in his early 40s, with a small career success and a happy family, which adds points to his image. At this moment, he was reading the newspaper and looked up at Meng Li. Meng Li politely shouted, "Good morning, Dad." And Zhao's mother looks very well maintained, looking like she's in her 30s, and her figure hasn't changed. Her eyebrows and eyes are soft. And Xiao Xiaofeng's facial features are similar to that of Zhao's father. At this time, Xiao Xiaofeng is sunny and handsome. The two father and son are like a mirror of each other's time. You can see the shadow of Xiao Xiaofeng's youth on him, and it seems that you can also see the future Xiao Xiaofeng on him. Meng Li pulled out an awkward smile and shouted to Xiao Mu and Xiao Xiaofeng, "Good morning, Mom and brother." Zhao's mother smiled at Meng Li and asked him to quickly wash up and have breakfast. Meng Li nodded and walked towards the bathroom. Tao Yue walked beside Xiao Mu and poured her a glass of milk. Xiao Xiaofeng kindly spread the bread with jam and handed it to Tao Yue. Tao Yue took it and sweetly said, "Thank you, brother." Xiao Xiaofeng smiled slightly, like a spring breeze brushing his face, with an imperceptible emotion in his eyes. From time to time, he unconsciously looked at Tao Yue. Meanwhile, Zhao's father and mother chatted quietly without a trace, and sunlight filtered through the window, creating a peaceful and warm atmosphere in the entire restaurant. Meng Li was exploring modern technological products in the bathroom, carefully asking in his heart, "Did I perform well just now? Do others suspect that I'm not Xiaoqian?" 6018, is this a stable appearance and a panicked heart? 6018 reluctantly replied, "Very good." Meng Li heard 6018's perfunctory words and didn't speak anymore. I took a shower, tidied up, walked to the dining table, and sat opposite Tao Yue. Tao Yue generously poured Meng Li a glass of milk, and Meng Li nodded politely in a distant voice. "Thank you." Tao Yue made a slight gesture, with a slightly strange expression on her face. With a smile from Meng Li, she handed Meng Li food even more attentively. Meng Li never refuses. The food here is something she has never tasted before. It's always a bit fresh the first time she eats it, and she wants to give everything a try. Tao Yue watched Meng Li eating breakfast and inexplicably felt that Xiao Xiaoqian's demeanor today was indescribably elegant and beautiful. It's not at all as carefree as Xiao Xiaoqian used to be. Tao Yue was startled by the sudden idea in her mind, and convinced herself that it was all Xiao Xiaoqian. She couldn't help but change her personality, withdrew her divergent thinking, and stopped thinking. At this moment, Meng Li's mind was also reminiscing about the memories she had received. She glanced at Tao Yue, and now it was time for Tao Yue to help Xiao Xiaoqian confess her feelings, but make the other person fall in love with her. However, at this time, Tao Yue has not yet run away from home. Meng Li felt that it was not too late to come at this time, and was analyzing in her heart where Tao Yue had gone in the days when she ran away from home. Later on, how did he escape safely from the kidnappers alone? Why was Xiao Xiaoqian kidnapped again after Tao Yue was kidnapped? Is there any connection between this? Meng Li is more certain now that Tao Yue's physique, as well as her lack of specialized training, cannot beat adult men. It should be someone helping Tao Yue. Is it difficult to rely on intelligence? But whether relying on intelligence or having someone help, Tao Yue never mentioned anything about that matter. This is not like Tao Yue's personality. Meng Li glanced meaningfully at Tao Yue. Is there any secret behind this? And the attitude of the Xiao family towards the client, hey. Zhao's mother saw Meng Li silently eating breakfast, so she spoke to him and interrupted his thinking. Meng Li briefly dealt with it. She was not yet accustomed to the people and things here, so she could only speak less and look more. After all, more words make more mistakes. Having breakfast, Meng Li and Tao Yue bid farewell to Zhao's father and mother and headed towards the school together. Along the way, Tao Yue watched as Meng Li hesitated to speak. Meng Li knew what Tao Yue wanted to say, but she couldn't initiate a conversation. The two remained silent and the atmosphere was awkward. Meng Li seemed to have looked at the world unintentionally. Although the client had already known various modern objects in their memory, what they saw with their own eyes still felt fresh and shocking. I also know that the things on the road with different colors used to carry people are called cars. It is an essential means of transportation for modern people, with towering buildings, bustling traffic, and hurried pedestrians. The colorful scenery is reflected in Meng Li's pupils, full of colors. End of this chapter. The first task of Chapter 5 is Modern 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The first task of Chapter 5 is Modern 4 at school. Meng Li saw the boy that the client liked. His name is Hua Mingzhi. When Hua Mingzhi saw Tao Yue beside Meng Li, his eyes instantly became bright and he greeted her. I came early today, I brought you a small gift. Put it in your desk, remember to read it alone. Hua Mingzhi also reminded with a hint of mystery that he never glanced at Meng Li next to him from beginning to end. Tao Yue had an awkward and slightly red face, and instinctively turned her bewildered gaze towards Meng Li. Meng Li stood quietly on the side, with a generous expression, without any embarrassment as a result. Sister Xiaoqin, let's go. Tao Yue glanced at Hua Mingzhi, who was staring at her, and reached out to tug at Meng Li's sleeve. Meng Li glanced at his sleeve and realized that the clothing here might not be suitable for him in this world. Although the style is very beautiful, it still makes Meng Li, who used to live in an era where everyone wore long clothes and wide sleeves, somewhat unnatural. At this moment, Hua Mingzhi seemed to have just seen Meng Li and turned his head to glance at her. There was contempt hidden deep in his gaze, and if it weren't for Meng Li staring directly at Hua Mingzhi, he wouldn't have noticed it. From the client's memory, Hua Mingzhi has never done anything that harmed her. If she had to forcefully say something, it would have been to reject the client's liking and pursue Tao Yue. But Meng Li felt that there was nothing wrong with this. It's not that whoever the client likes must accept it. The other party has the right to choose others. Liking someone is the freedom of the other party. Meng Li nodded. Let's go into the classroom then. Tao Yue seemed to be rescued and quickly said to Hua Mingzhi. Classmate, let's go first. Well, there's also your gift. After thinking for a moment, Tao Yue said. Don't give me any more gifts in the future. After finishing speaking, he secretly glanced at Meng Li. Seeing that Meng Li's face was expressionless, he seemed to breathe a sigh of relief and then left Meng Li behind, shyly running towards the classroom. And Hua Mingzhi looked at Tao Yue's back and chuckled twice, then withdrew his smile and said to Meng Li. Don't bully Yue. Meng Li tugged at the corner of his mouth and said. Don't worry, Hua Mingzhi. Our family is very kind to Yue, especially my brother. Yue is very kind and happy in our family. Hua Mingzhi's face darkened slightly, and Xiaoqin became sharp-tongued today, even poking people in pain. When I think of Xiaofeng, my head swells. Since he pursued Tao Yue, Xiaofeng has always been looking for him. The two have been secretly fighting each other for a long time, but in the end, Xiaofeng still has a slight advantage. If at this point, he still doesn't understand what Xiaofeng's mind is up to, he will be too foolish. The reason why Hua Mingzhe's head is bigger is also because Tao Yue and Xiao Xiaofeng live together. The fact that the tower near the water wins the moon first is completely unfair competition, which makes Hua Mingzhe dislike Xiao Xiaofeng and even more displeased with Xiao Xiaoqin. However, he took the initiative to initiate the topic, but he couldn't lose his aura. He turned around and entered the classroom with a powerful snort. Meng Li also walked towards the classroom, and the most crucial task was not to argue here. Talking about these things, I like you but you don't like me, even if you still like her. But it's about finding out why the client was kidnapped, who was kidnapped, and how to avoid this danger. Meng Li was sitting in the classroom, and the teacher had not yet arrived. Everyone was in a lazy state, and a girl whispered in her ear. Meng Li opened the book and looked at it. It was a bit difficult. Adapting is a long process, and obviously Meng Li felt that he didn't adapt so quickly. Tao Yue's seat is not far from Meng Li, and Meng Li glanced at Tao Yue. Tao Yue lowered her head and took out a box from the drawer. She opened the box to check the gift given by Hua Mingzhe. Meng Li was not interested in what gift Hua Mingzhe gave Tao Yue, so she withdrew her gaze and continued reading. After attending class all morning, Meng Li listened in a mist. Even so, it didn't affect Meng Li's serious pursuit of knowledge, causing the teacher to secretly nod. Little did they know that Meng Li didn't understand a lot and it was quite difficult to understand. At lunchtime, Tao Yue ran to Meng Li and said, "Sister Xiaoqin, let's go eat." The meaning of voice request. Meng Li looked up at Tao Yue and whispered, "Yue, we're actually a little different in months, and we're classmates. You can actually call me Xiao Xiaoqin, or Xiaoqin. You don't like me calling you sister, do you?" Tao Yue hesitated in her tone and her eyes dimmed for a moment. Meng Li, What is it? Didn't you never admit in your heart that I'm your sister? Tao Yue seemed to muster up courage and spoke quickly. Meng Li. What? Sister. She just felt a bit strange when she spoke with a sister and closed with a sister. When the client was around in the past, they had enough to endure the hardship of the word sister. You are a sister, why don't you have a sister who is sensible yet? You are a sister, why are you angry with her? You are a sister. You don't let your sister, but instead she lets you take care of you. Your sister is too inadequate and arrogant. As for the younger sister, Meng Li thinks that Tao Yue is not the younger sister of the client. Meng Li stood up and said to Tao Yue, "If you want to call me that, it's okay. I was impolite to abruptly make you change." Meng Li spoke apologetically and walked towards the cafeteria. After taking 2 steps, Meng Li stopped and said to Tao Yue, "Actually, I just feel like you don't call me sister, to make our relationship closer and better. We have an equal relationship." "Well, that's it?" Tao Yue asked in confusion. "Really?" Meng Li nodded. Really, at least this will not allow Tao Yue to constantly show her weakness. "I am my younger sister, but I am very kind to her. I am so great." How compromising he is again, he is such a hard-working child, relying on others and unable to control himself. Meng Li is a bit absent-minded. This kind of caution is something that sisters in the family picked up at random. Tao Yue still seemed puzzled, and Meng Li smiled and said, "How about I call you Sister Yue in the future?" "Okay. Sister Yue." Tao Yue. "Ah." Meng Li pursed his lips and smiled, saying, "Listen, I call you Yue sister, doesn't it feel a bit awkward?" Tao Yue nodded hesitantly. "Yes, it's a bit." Meng Li let out a sigh. Tao Yue nodded and hesitated, then glanced at Meng Li. She apologized and explained to Meng Li. "Actually, Hua Mingzhe and I are not what you think. Don't misunderstand, he just gave me a gift as a simple classmate." End of this chapter. The first task of chapter 6 is Modern 5. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. The first task of Chapter 6 is Modern 5. Meng Li nodded nonchalantly. I know, I also understand. My main purpose now is to learn, and I shouldn't think too much. I want to be a good student. Upon hearing this, Tao Yue frowned tightly and blurted out. But Hua Mingzhi is really a great person, you can't just miss out on it. Meng Li waved his hand and said seriously. I really want to study hard. Just treat me as impulsive and I will correct it. Yes, correct it. You don't have to doubt that my words are deceitful. Tao Yue hesitated to speak. But she expressed some disbelief that no matter how much she likes it, she can become unhappy in a while. But seeing Meng Li's gaze, she calmly and sincerely expressed her dislike, which also plunged Tao Yue into uncertainty. Are you really not liking it anymore? Is it because Hua Mingzhi is close to her that she doesn't like him anymore? Hua Mingzhi is a very warm boy, but Xiao Xiaoqin no longer likes him. Does she still have a topic with Hua Mingzhi? She will lose one friend in the future. Tao Yue sighed in her heart, it's really a pity. Why doesn't Xiao Xiaoqin persist for a while? Meng Li looked at Tao Yue with a sad expression on her face, without any inner turmoil. Tao Yue let out a sorrowful sigh, pursed her lips and remained silent. Her expression was very regretful, as if two perfectly matched people had separated, which made her feel regretful. After hesitating for a moment, he took out a small box from his body and handed it to Meng Li, saying, I'll give this to you as a souvenir. It's also good. Even if it's true, then this is something belonging to Hua Mingzhi. Let Xiao Xiaoqin take it as a souvenir. Meng Li glanced at the small box in Tao Yue's hand, which was the small gift that Hua Mingzhi had placed in Tao Yue's desk this morning. Meng Li is a bit speechless, why give her this? Tao Yue felt a bit disappointed when she saw that Meng Li only glanced at the gift box and then stopped looking. This box is very exquisite, but she just glanced at it and stopped paying attention, not even wanting to know what was inside. I'll give this to you, please make sure to accept it. Tao Yue handed the small box to Meng Li again. Meng Li smiled and said, You keep it, I know this Hua classmate's gift for you, you don't need to give it to me either. Speaking of which, the client has never received such a gift from Tao Yue before. To receive and know that this is a gift from Hua Mingzhi to Tao Yue is to be angry. What kind of thing is this? It's just embarrassing. Tao Yue was instantly embarrassed and hesitated, saying, This, I'm just kind-hearted and want you to take it as a souvenir. Meng Li waved his hand and said, No need, let's go eat quickly. There's nothing to commemorate, no one has a clear mind yet. Meng Li added casually. She found it a bit interesting again. Tao Yue has gone through a huge change in her family and is still so simple. Girl, who protected your innocence? Girl, who is carrying the weight for you? Tao Yue's hand awkwardly hung in mid-air, and finally reluctantly withdrew it. That expression was deep helplessness, as if one's intentions had not been understood. She really likes this gift and has already reluctantly given it up. Why doesn't Xiao Xiaoqin want it? Tao Yue felt a sense of inferiority in her heart. She regarded it as a treasure, but the other person looked down upon it. Is this their difference? However, a sudden surge of pleasure hit Tao Yue's heart. What if there was a gap? The boy who the other party favored was unwilling to look at her more. And the Xiao family praised her for being sensible and lovely. Xiao Xiaoqin is really a pitiful person. Immediately, Tao Yue suddenly regained her senses and remembered her thoughts, secretly blaming herself in her heart. How could she have such thoughts? Meng Li ignored Tao Yue's complex expression and walked quickly towards the cafeteria. Rather than saying meaningless things here with Tao Yue, it's better to go eat. She has a strong interest in the food here. There are so many styles. There are many flavors, not monotonous. During the afternoon class, Meng Li specifically observed the classmate named Yao Xian, who had a melon seed face, big eyes, and looked quite lively. Perhaps Meng Li's gaze was too direct, and Yao Xian also searched for Meng Li's gaze in the classroom. The two gazed at each other, and Yao Xian curled her lips and smiled at Meng Li. Meng Li withdrew her gaze expressionlessly. But Meng Li still decided to pay more attention to Yao Xian. In the following days, Meng Li gradually adapted to school and family life. When at home, I can get along peacefully with all the members of the Xiao family, but I am even more silent than before, like a transparent person. Regarding the neglect of the client by the Xiao family, Meng Li expressed his unwillingness to make too many comments, as these things are trivial in the face of the client's life and death. In life, no one has anything to worry about yet. The Xiao family generally believes that they cannot be bad to their adopted daughter to avoid being criticized. It can be said that there is no Tao Yue who can please the client, and Zhao's father and mother also love this daughter. However, sometimes they are willing to talk about their own children. Feeling that their children won't argue with them is a common problem that many people suffer from. Having been at home for many days, Meng Li felt bored again. Every day, he watched Tao Yue coax Zhao's mother with a smile, and even Zhao's father, who looked serious, saw Tao Yue with a softer expression. Xiao Xiaofeng, on the other hand, is a testament to his diligence and strength. Tao Yue is the pistachio of the Xiao family and a thoughtful little cotton jacket. Meng Li is honest and upright as an invisible person at home. No wonder the client is feeling frustrated and aggrieved. He has always been favored, and how can he tolerate this indifference? However, she felt a sense of purity and expressed her love for it. Then Meng Li also enrolled in a study class, specializing in fighting skills. Zhao's parents were surprised that Meng Li suddenly wanted to participate in such a study class. It's not surprising that my daughter, who has been struggling since childhood, wants to learn this. However, Zhao's father and mother only gave money when their daughter was on the rise. Until there is no real hope for Meng Li to learn anything, it can all be done through physical exercise. Meng Li, however, did not think so. The more Meng Li pondered, the more he felt that this thing had its own ingenuity. I cannot practice here, so I can only hope for a slightly stronger power. But Meng Li also understood that most girls are naturally weaker than men in terms of physical strength. I have raised my expectations for myself, hoping to increase my ability to defend myself when encountering danger as much as possible. And sometimes Yao Xian also comes to chat with Meng Li, but Meng Li is not very willing to talk to Yao Xian. After Meng Li delved into school gossip, she also discovered that Yao Xian always intentionally or unintentionally paid attention to a senior, who seemed to treat Tao Yue differently. Interestingly, Tao Yue became a shining presence at this school. In the client's memory, Yao Xian's actions towards Tao Yue are not inexplicable. It's safe to be jealous. End of this chapter. The first task of Chapter 7 is Modern 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The first task of Chapter 7 is Modern 6. Yao Xian saw that Meng Li didn't pay much attention to her, so she thought that sometimes Meng Li was in a bad mood and didn't lose heart. I often mention the situation of Hua Mingzhi in front of Meng Li, such as Hua Mingzhi giving gifts to Tao Yue. Intentionally or unintentionally, he also said how good Xiao Xiaofeng was to Tao Yue. It seems that he unintentionally told Meng Li that Xiao Xiaofeng is better than you to Tao Yue, so be careful not to fall out of favor. Still jokingly teasing Meng Li, saying that this won't be your sister-in-law in the future, will it? Meng Li had no inner turmoil, she wouldn't foolishly make arrows in someone else's hand. Becoming the sister-in-law of the client. Meng Li felt that it was unreasonable. There are too many people around Tao Yue, shining and heating up. Yao Xian saw Meng Li listening to her every time with an expressionless expression. His attitude seemed very polite, but there was a faint feeling of being far away from others. The feeling of unfamiliarity and alienation was very strong. That feeling made Yao Xian not want to continue talking to Meng Li. And seeing Meng Li and Tao Yue often walking together, it feels very ironic and ridiculous. People you like are robbed by others, and you can still be sisters to love each other. After a long time, Yao Xian didn't want to chat with Meng Li anymore, and there was nothing to say about stupid people. It's useless for you to say 1,000 or 10,000 words. It's hopeless, no one deserves to like it. Meng Li likes to walk around when he has nothing to do. Learning martial arts requires physical exercise, and Meng Li took advantage of this opportunity to eat, drink, and live a fulfilling and carefree life. Although the Xiao family ignored Meng Li at home, Tao Yue kept brushing her presence in front of him. He is also very attentive to Meng Li, and naturally he will not refuse. Whatever Tao Yue likes to do, Meng Li eats whatever she likes. Meng Li enjoys it with peace of mind. Since refusing you will make others unhappy, then don't refuse. After a long time, Tao Yue also felt a bit foolish. I don't know why she inexplicably felt like she was a maid. Serving the young lady under the same roof, always based on her happiness. This made Tao Yue feel a hint of injustice in her heart, but she couldn't say where she was wronged. And all of this naturally aroused Xiao Xiaofeng's dissatisfaction. Xiao Xiaofeng sat on the sofa and said to Meng Li, who was reading a book and eating a fruit platter made by Tao Yue himself. "Miss, have a good time eating." Meng Li nodded, poked a piece of fruit with a toothpick, and handed it to Xiao Xiaofeng, saying, "It's not bad, you can try it too." "Oh, in the shape of love." Xiao Xiaofeng snorted. "As soon as they come back, they will cut fruits for you. If you don't help, you can still eat with peace of mind." Meng Li said helplessly, "What do you want me to do? If we don't eat, she will feel sad again. After eating, she says she feels at ease. You should go help." Xiao Xiaofeng glanced at the direction of the kitchen and didn't see Tao Yue coming out. He continued. "Do you believe me or not to help her? She definitely said she doesn't need my help. I can't say it to her. Besides, why don't you go?" Meng Li said indifferently. "How do you know if you don't go help?" Xiao Xiaofeng said. Meng Li glanced at Xiao Xiaofeng, wiped his hands with a wet towel on the coffee table, stood up, and walked towards the kitchen. Tao Yue was still cutting the fruit, and Meng Li said, "Let me do it." Tao Yue quickly looked up at Meng Li and shook her head, saying, "No need, no need." "Ah." Tao Yue let out a scream of pain, and Meng Li lowered her eyes to see that Tao Yue's fingers were emitting bright red blood. Immediately after, there was a rapid sound of footsteps, and Xiao Xiaofeng rushed over from the living room and pushed Meng Li away. Glancing at Tao Yue's hand, he quickly said to Meng Li, who had just stood firm, "Hurry up and get the band-aid," still standing. Meng Li didn't turn back to look for the band-aids. Xiao Xiaofeng wanted to pick up Tao Yue's hand and take a look, but his hand reached into mid-air and then retracted, feeling too nervous. He pretended to relax and said, "Are you okay? Does it hurt or not? They all told you not to do these things." "It's okay, it's just a small wound, it doesn't hurt." Tao Yue put her hand behind her and whispered with her head down. Meng Li walked to the kitchen again and handed the band-aid to Xiao Xiaofeng. Xiao Xiaofeng looked at Meng Li irritably. "It's all you who caused Yue to get hurt." Meng Li. "No, brother Xiaofeng, it was my own carelessness. I don't blame Xiaoqin. Don't laugh at Qin." Tao Yue anxiously explained and glanced at Meng Li. Meng Li chuckled and said to Xiao Xiaofeng, "Hurry up and give them some creative stickers. If we don't hurry up, the wound will heal." After finishing speaking, Meng Li left the kitchen. To be honest, the person in charge of this task only requested to survive. She had asked the system before, and the system said there was no need to meddle, which was exactly what Meng Li meant. Talking about the noisy family background may not seem like a big deal, but it's the most annoying. And these things are all inexplicable. Can we say that due to Xiao Xiaofeng's favoritism, we must sever our blood ties and family ties? Can't it be? The client needs support from family members, and even those with ordinary relationships can do so. There is no one behind the orphan, it cannot be said that they are not suffering. If she helped the client dump the Xiao family, wouldn't the client become an orphan? Actually, it's very simple to have a falling out with family. The client thinks they can go and make a scene on their own when they come back. The extent of the disturbance is up to her to decide. It would be awkward if someone didn't want to be an orphan and made things irreversible for themselves. And these people look a bit like children to her. Meng Li felt that he couldn't immediately immerse himself in the role. Meng Li returned to the living room, and Xiao Xiaofeng turned around to see that Meng Li was no longer at the door. He was a bit angry with Meng Li's attitude. But seeing that Tao Yue's hands were still bleeding, he went out to find iodine and cotton swabs. After hesitating and struggling for a moment, he couldn't help but take Tao Yue's hands to disinfect her. Tao Yue's hand struggled slightly, and Xiao Xiaofeng quickly said, "Don't move, I'll disinfect you." He also breathed a heartfelt sigh at Tao Yue's lush white fingers, his expression serious. But in fact, Xiao Xiaofeng was also nervous. Touching Tao Yue's delicate little hand made his body involuntarily straighten, and even small beads of sweat mischievously ran out on his forehead, hanging on it. Tao Yue's face turned red throughout. Little did she know that such a pure and shy Tao Yue was even more lovely and charming in Xiao Xiaofeng's eyes. This made Xiao Xiaofeng's mind wander and he became even more nervous. Xiao Xiaofeng was even more serious when he applied a bandage to Tao Yue. With great care, he saw that the wound on Tao Yue's hand was somewhat painful. When Xiao Xiaofeng helped Tao Yue put on the band-aid, Tao Yue planned to retract her hand. Subconsciously, Xiao Xiaofeng grabbed the small hand that was about to slide away. Immediately realizing her mistake, she quickly released Tao Yue's hand and apologized. "Sorry, it's okay, Brother Xiaofeng." Tao Yue is empathetic. Xiao Xiaofeng looked like a child who had made a mistake, at a loss. Seeing that Tao Yue was not angry, he breathed a sigh of relief and said to Tao Yue, "Let's go out. You can sit on the sofa and rest for a while. I'll cut these later." Tao Yue also felt embarrassed and could only nod, walking towards the living room with Xiao Xiaofeng. And Xiao Xiaofeng extended his hand that had held Tao Yue's little hand and glanced at it, feeling empty. And it seemed as if there was still Tao Yue's body temperature remaining above, leaving Xiao Xiaofeng's heart empty. End of this chapter. The first task of Chapter 8 is Modern 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The first task of Chapter 8 is Modern 7. Meng Li, sitting in the living room, heard footsteps and saw two people coming out of the kitchen. Tao Yue's face turned slightly red, and her injured finger was covered with a bandage. Meng Li looked at Tao Yue's shy appearance and remained speechless. Xiao Xiaofeng still reminded Tao Yue, "Be careful at home, don't use a knife anymore, you know." Then he said to Meng Li, "Help Yue more, her hand is injured, please be careful not to get infected. It's because of how you moaned and groaned, when someone was using a knife and you suddenly walked up to them, causing such a result." Xiao Xiaofeng criticized. Meng Li said, "Instead of blaming others, why don't you help her?" Xiao Xiaofeng. He did think, but Meng Li didn't hold on to it anymore. "Forget it, I won't say it anymore. If you forcefully comfort yourself not to worry about these trivial matters, then it can only be said that Xiao Xiaofeng is really young. A boy under 20 years old is like he hasn't grown up in this world. Not mature in all aspects." Tao Yue quickly explained. "No, it's me who got distracted while using a knife. It's all my fault. Don't laugh at Qin. Xiao Qin is also kind-hearted." Tao Yue added. Xiao Xiaofeng reluctantly and indulgently whispered to Tao Yue, "Little fool, clumsy and clumsy. When can we take care of ourselves?" His Yue is so kind that she never blames anyone for her injuries. But some people have no sense of guilt. When will his sister become more sensible? Upon hearing this, Tao Yue's face turned red again and her awkward gaze turned to Meng Li. Meng Li glanced up at Tao Yue, got up and walked towards the bedroom. He changed his clothes in the bedroom and then went to the living room to say to the two of them. I'm out, and when my parents come back, let them know that there's no need to wait for me to eat today. Okay, come back early. Tao Yue responded and secretly breathed a sigh of relief in her heart. If she were alone, the atmosphere would probably not be so awkward. It's really embarrassing to be seen like this by others. Xiao Xiaofeng's feelings towards her are not something she doesn't understand, just Tao Yue felt a little sad in her heart. Does she really want to hurt this sunny big boy? She just treats him like a close big brother. I can't bear it, not at all. Meng Li nodded and glanced at Xiao Xiaofeng. Xiao Xiaofeng ignored Meng Li, so Meng Li went out on his own. Meng Li walked on the street, turned around to see if there were anyone around, and then turned into an alley. The door of a small shop knocked, and in no time, a middle-aged man with a burly figure and a scumbag on his face opened the door. Seeing Meng Li, he didn't speak, but on one side of his body, he gave Meng Li a space and signaled him to walk in. Meng Li just walked into the room and felt a fist wind behind him. He quickly turned to one side and avoided the punch. Stretching out a leg and sweeping towards the man's lower abdomen, the man naturally wouldn't stand and get beaten. He quickly attacked Meng Li, and the two of them went back and forth, but they didn't hit him. Wait until the two of them are sweating profusely from the fight, then stop doing it. The man picked up a towel from the nearby sofa and wiped the sweat off his body. Meng Li also took out a handkerchief and carefully wiped the sweat. Little girl, you're making good progress. The man casually shook the towel and said to Meng Li. Meng Li humbly said. That's because Master Li didn't take it seriously with me. Hee, that's true. You're a bit less skilled than me, but these few moves from you are definitely not a problem dealing with some local ruffians and hooligans. You've made great progress. Master Li is telling the truth. Meng Li nodded, but what Master Li didn't know was that she only used less than 5 points. I am now a beginner, playing with a big knife in front of Guan Gong. Meng Li humbly said. I see that you have great potential and I have a positive outlook on you. Master Li smiled heartily and then asked after him. How do you remember to learn this? I'm very interested in this, it can also be used for self-defense and exercise. It's a cost-effective way to get things done in one fell swoop. Meng Li smiled and said. That's right, the little girl is beautiful and knows how to handle things. Others know it's not easy to mess with, Master Li agreed. Meng Li nodded, knowing in her heart that she couldn't learn the essence of the fighting techniques here, but some superficial skills combined with some of the moves she had previously practiced also made her achieve twice the result with half the effort. And this Master Li is actually a friend of the coach she enrolled in the study class. Master Li, on the other hand, noticed that Meng Li sometimes used a strange move, but it had a considerable effect of weighing 1,000 pounds. He became curious and often approached Meng Li for moves. As they went back and forth, they became somewhat familiar with each other. Later on, Meng Li found out that Master Li had opened a private investigation agency to help others investigate some unknown things. Meng Li was moved by this in his heart. Afterwards, Meng Li gave Tao Yue's situation and information to Master Li, asking him to help investigate. The cost was not low, but the money in the hands of the client and what the Xiao family asked for was enough. After chatting for a while, Master Li looked at Meng Li and sat on the sofa, asking tentatively. Girl, did you think of those moves yourself? Meng Li seemed to have a puzzled expression on his face and asked in response. Didn't I use it according to the coach's instructions? Did I not set standards? Meng Li seemed to be talking to himself, and also seemed to be asking Master Li. Master Li's eyes were fixed on Meng Li. Seeing that Meng Li's expression did not look fake, he relaxed and confined himself to the sofa. Years of work experience have made Master Li feel that the girl in front of him has a calmness that does not match his age. But Master Li doesn't want to pursue too much. This girl claims to be a friend and a customer, and he has also investigated her family background, which is not complicated. I haven't had any contact with any special people or things. Master Li couldn't think of the key point, so he gave up and handed Meng Li a USB drive. He said to Meng Li, "All I know is this, you go back and take a look. I can't delve deeper into this matter. I can refund you a bit of the payment." Master Li thought for a moment and said, "According to industry regulations, this product does not need to be returned. However, that's all. Also, I advise you not to go against them. Their background is not as simple as you think." Master Li pondered for a moment and then said again, "Sometimes don't be too curious." He didn't know for what purpose this girl wanted to investigate, but Master Li believed that it was better not to know some things than to know. Meng Li's eyebrows furrowed unconsciously upon hearing the words, and then relaxed again. Although he had not yet seen the result, his intuition was that this matter was not simple. Meng Li kept Master Li's advice in mind and immediately refused Master Li's refund request. "I understand in my heart that this is based on human feelings, but Meng Li doesn't want to owe this one favor." End of this chapter. The first task of Chapter 9 is Modern 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The first task of Chapter 9 is Modern 8. I remember the system once said that after completing the task, the client will come back to live. I don't know if the client will deal with people like Master Li when they come back. I don't think so. Actually, Master Li is a bit of a wanderer in the gray area. Master Li sighed when he saw Meng Li's sincere attitude and understood that the other party wanted to distance themselves from him. He was no longer persistent. Friends are all fate, and once fate is done, we cannot force ourselves. Meng Li chatted with Master Li again, then bid farewell to Master Li with a USB drive. He ordered some food outside and returned home. When they got home, the Xiao family was all there, and Tao Yue was chatting happily with Zhao's mother. Meng Li greeted the Xiao family, and Zhao's parents nodded at him without saying anything else. Meng Li then returned to his room. Opening the computer, Meng Li plugged in the USB drive, which contained some photos and information. Meng Li looked at it carefully, his face somewhat solemn. After a long time, Meng Li finished reading all the information and took a long breath. At this moment, Meng Li felt the pressure. How should this task be completed? From the information given to her by Master Li, it can be seen that Tao Yue's background is also very suspicious. When Tao Yue's mother gave birth to Tao Yue, she married her father less than October ago. And Tao Yue is not a premature baby. Tao Yue's mother was basically pregnant before getting married. From the surface, it doesn't seem like much. Although there weren't many unmarried pregnancies during that era, there were also some. But there is another suspicious thing, Tao Yue's mother had a first love before that. The two are very in love, and Tao Yue's mother even eloped with that man. But later he was brought back by his family, and the man left his hometown far away. Then the two separated for less than a month, and Tao Yue's mother married Tao Yue's father. Meng Li has a bold idea in his heart. The man who has traveled far away from home has a background that is not so simple, which is also why Master Li dare not investigate in depth. It should be the reason why even if we delve deeper, we cannot find anything. This man was a gangster in this city back then. After returning, there was little news about him from the outside world, but he still lingered on this path. According to Master Li's investigation, this man has already achieved success in this field. But when it comes to that specific location, Master Li has not investigated it in detail. Meng Li stared at the screen, connecting things in his heart. If Tao Yue was not the blood of the Tao family, some things would not be so difficult to explain. Meng Li looked at the photos of Tao Yue's parents. Tao Yue looked very much like her mother, but upon closer inspection, she really didn't look like Tao Yue's father. With doubts in his heart, Meng Li's speculation in his mind persisted. So now if the client wants to survive, they need to remove the hidden danger. At least we need to find out who kidnapped the client back then. If we have the ability, could you help us avenge him? But the matter is not yet 100% certain, Meng Li can only wait, and the truth of the matter will definitely come to light. Meng Li turned off the computer and lay in bed thinking for a long time. After considering various possibilities and considering her current situation, if the death of the client was really caused by Tao Yue's biological father, how should we seek revenge? And everything was just her speculation, and Meng Li was not sure if anyone else was involved. Afterwards, Meng Li became particularly concerned about Tao Yue's movements and Yao Xian's movements. Life is still going on, but Tao Yue is becoming more and more popular in school, while also earning the envy of many girls. Hua Mingzhi also persistently pursued Tao Yue, who neither refused nor agreed. And Meng Li often goes to school with Tao Yue, which makes everyone's eyes at Meng Li a bit subtle. Tao Yue has become a hot topic in this school, and Meng Li naturally cannot avoid being mentioned. Although it is said that Meng Li likes others, people like her good sisters. It's quite embarrassing to say. Many people like to magnify things and maliciously speculate about others. Then there were rumors that Meng Li often walked with Tao Yue because he wanted Hua Mingzhi to see her more. I'm definitely not willing in my heart, so I'm trying my best to fight for it. Meng Li expressed that he doesn't care what others are saying. These boring gossip will gradually disappear with the passage of time. Don't worry about these trivial matters. Meng Li, who had a good mentality, also gave Tao Yue a necklace as a gift. Tao Yue, who received the necklace, seemed very happy and immediately put on the necklace given by Meng Li. However, Tao Yue did not notice the complexity of Meng Li's gaze at her. Meng Li looked at the hairpin on Tao Yue's head, delicate and small, shining brightly under the reflection of the sunlight. Meng Li's eyes flickered and he seemed to say casually, "The hairpin on your head is very beautiful, and you have a good eye." Tao Yue instinctively reached out to touch her hairpin, and her cheeks suddenly blushed. She shyly and pleasantly replied, "Really? You also think it looks good, right?" This hairpin was personally put on by him in an extremely domineering manner, and he even threatened her not to take it off. Meng Li nodded earnestly. This hair clip is not cheap, it's still a limited edition. If it weren't for Meng Li's unintentional research on luxury goods before, he wouldn't have found this inconspicuous hair clip very expensive. Look at Tao Yue like this, it's not just a gift from ordinary people. Tao Yue couldn't help but think of that person in her mind, who was both domineering and gentle, and a hint of sweetness couldn't help but rise in her heart. Thinking of this, Tao Yue secretly cursed herself for being unproductive. Didn't she swear in her heart not to think of him? No, absolutely not. It's too unproductive for me to do this. Tao Yue also occasionally sighed sorrowfully in front of Meng Li, saying that she didn't know how to refuse those boys who were good to her. She wanted to refuse, but was afraid of hurting the other party and didn't know what to do. She asked Meng Li what to do. Meng Li just said that if you don't like it, you can explain it clearly to the other party. Tao Yue also said she doesn't want to miss the opportunity to be friends. And it would hurt them so directly, things are not as simple as you imagine. Meng Li. Does Aunt Meng Li say that this kind of thing is very complicated? Refuse if you don't like it. Girl, one should not be too greedy in life. Afterwards, Tao Yue had more time to go out, and Meng Li always accurately found her location. Finally, Meng Li discovered that Tao Yue had been picked up by a valuable car. Meng Li could only take a taxi to follow, but the car in front was very vigilant and quickly shook off the vehicle Meng Li was riding in. Meng Li had to get off the car and give up. After a while, Meng Li saw the location information displayed on his phone. I checked the address online and sighed. I won't go, but even if I go, she can't get in. End of this chapter. The first task of chapter 10 is Modern 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The first task of chapter 10 is Modern 9. Meng Li thought for a moment and it seemed that he needed the help of Master Li. He then sent the license plate number she had recorded to Master Li and asked him to help investigate. Master Li agreed, but the clever Master Li also guessed that this was related to the previous incident, so he told Meng Li again not to be too persistent about some things. Some people are not something that a little girl cannot afford to provoke. Although this girl comes from a good family, she's not much. Meng Li fully agreed and transferred the money to Master Li, knowing in his heart that this was the last time Master Li would help investigate something. Some things cannot be deliberately avoided. To eliminate danger, one must know the source of the danger. Meng Li returned home and had nothing to do on the weekend, but he met Xiao Xiaofeng at the entrance of the community. Xiao Xiaofeng had just finished playing basketball with his classmates when he saw Meng Li and asked, "Where's Yue? Aren't you with Yue?" Meng Li shook her head and said she didn't know where Tao Yue had gone. Xiao Xiaofeng no longer asked Meng Li, nor did he ask where Meng had left. The siblings, who used to have a good relationship, are now in an awkward atmosphere. They return home one after another, speechless all the way, resting in their respective rooms. Meng Li kept looking at the location of her phone. As night approached, the location became closer and closer to her, and finally stopped in one place without moving. Meng Li quickly left the community and found a place. This place is not far from the community, but there are few pedestrians. It can be considered a relatively quiet road. The luxury car was still parked on the roadside, and Meng Li hid in a corner waiting for about 10 minutes. The left side door of the rear row opened, and a man walked out of the car and walked around to the right side door, pulling open the right side door. Previously, Meng Li couldn't see this man clearly due to his perspective. But now it is clear that this man has a tall figure, dressed in a well-cut suit, with a decent overall temperament and a very handsome appearance. Immediately, Meng Li saw Tao Yue come out of the car, but the man was propped up in the car with his arms. Coincidentally surrounding Tao Yue in front of him, Meng Li was too far away to hear what Tao Yue was saying, but judging from Tao Yue's expression, it was probably shyness and anger. Then Tao Yue tapped the man's chest with her fist. Then the man hugged Tao Yue. Tao Yue struggled slightly and obediently snuggled up. Meng Li saw this scene. Meng Li saw the man take out a small box from his body and then lift his head. Judging from the movement, it should be putting earrings or similar things on her ears. Finally, the two of them spoke for a while, and the man rubbed Tao Yue's head. Throughout the process, Tao Yue's cheeks turned red and she felt ashamed. The man seemed very satisfied with Tao Yue's reaction and tapped her forehead. Tao Yue took the opportunity to crawl out of the man's arm with a cat on her waist and run towards the direction of home. After running for a short distance, Tao Yue turned around and waved at the man. The man also elegantly raised his hand and waved at Tao Yue, his gaze warm. Tao Yue just turned around and walked towards home. After Tao Yue's figure disappeared, the man got into the car and the car sped away in a moment. Meng Li looked at the few photos secretly taken on his phone and sent them to Master Li. Feeling satisfied, he stayed in place for a while to ensure that the car would not come back. After that, Meng Li also walked towards his home. When Meng Li arrived home, Tao Yue had also arrived. Meng Li paid attention to Tao Yue's ears, which were wearing a unique earring. Meng Li glanced at Tao Yue's neck again. The necklace she gave was still properly worn around Tao Yue's neck. Meng Li also put a lot of effort into this necklace, and when choosing a style, she also chose according to Tao Yue's preferences. At least make sure the other person likes it before they can wear it. And this is a gift from Meng Li, and Tao Yue will wear it at any time to prove their friendship to Meng Li. Just Tao Yue didn't know that this exquisite necklace has a positioning function and is also a bit of a trick for Meng Li. Tao Yue is like a diligent little bee, helping Xiao Mu cook. Meng Li also comes into the kitchen to help, but Xiao Mu casually asks Tao Yue where she went to play this weekend. Tao Yue only said that she went to the city library to read books. Zhao's mother was very satisfied and asked Meng Li about her schedule for today. Meng Li said she had been idle at home all day. Zhao's mother said that it would be good for Meng Li to go to the library with Tao Yue after that, and for girls to read more books. The speaker didn't intend to listen, but Tao Yue was quite nervous. Perhaps she was a bit afraid that Meng Li's hen would follow her out, and quickly said that everyone should arrange according to their own preferences on the weekend. Everyone is also under a lot of academic pressure, and she went to the library to look for some classic novels to relieve stress, which has little to do with her studies. Meng Li also agreed with Tao Yue's words, and Tao Yue definitely didn't want her to follow. She's going to do electric light bulb. Zhao's mother praised Tao Yue for being sensible, but Tao Yue smiled reluctantly and felt a bit guilty. I hope everyone doesn't doubt her, after all, she didn't go to the library today. Originally going, it was all that domineering, stingy, and selfish ghost, and Tao Yue's face came to mind again. Tao Yue felt her heart beating wildly, a strange, sweet, indescribable feeling. 3 people worked together to cook the meal, and because it was a weekend, Zhao's busy father was also present. Everyone ate together and with great interest, opened a bottle of red wine to taste together. The family atmosphere is good, and Zhao's father also asked about the grades of several children. Tao Yue and Xiao Xiaofeng's grades are also good. But because although Meng Li has a better understanding of the knowledge points of this world, he feels that when viewed separately, he understands them all, but when combined, he doesn't quite understand them. Moreover, due to incomplete adaptation and reasonable use, the grades have declined. Perhaps Xiao's father didn't want to disturb his interest and just said a few words to Meng Li before bringing up this topic again. Tao Yue took a few sips of red wine, and 2 blushes appeared on her face. Her eyes were slightly hazy, and after taking a sip of red wine and swallowing it, she mischievously blinked. Tao Yue was so cute that Xiao Xiaofeng was stunned. Zhao's father noticed Xiao Xiaofeng's abnormality and coughed awkwardly twice. Xiao Xiaofeng finally regained his senses and realized that he had lost his composure, and his face turned red. But when Zhao's mother saw this, she mischievously blinked at her father. Meng Li tasted the red wine and couldn't help but exclaim in his heart that it was a good wine. Then, seeing the reaction of Zhao's father and mother, he understood in his heart that Zhao's father and mother were both from the past. I don't know my own son's thoughtfulness. I just don't know what they think. Seeking collections, seeking recommendations, end of this chapter.